Welcome back to the Union Smack podcast. This time, no teases, no dicking around. It's both of us. Myself, Travis from Hibiki TMD, and my man, my right-hand man, the Maniac Matt Tennant. Welcome back, my friend. All apologies again on the NXT TakeOver mix-up. We did record it together originally, but this time there's no mix-ups. You're here, you're in the house for the state of the WWE address. What's going on, man? How you been and where can everyone catch you?
Yeah, it's been a week, but you can catch me on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant. You can buy our merchandise, the official Union Smack shirt, the official Hibiki TMD shirt, the official Reset Button shirt at our shop, unionsmack.bigcartel.com. And we have nothing else to hoard, Travis. We'll have to work on that.
We'll get there. I'm sure we'll find something by the end of it. Oh, I did. But as always, on Twitter at the Hibiki TMD. Hit that subscribe right down below for all the best retro gaming and pro wrestling goodness. Woo! Already spent, but I'm excited to be back with you. We got a plethora of things to talk about today. A little special episode. We figured it was a perfect way to come back together after 3 months. Matt, by the way, once again, I thank you on the show that never saw the light of day, but here again, I thank you again for holding down the fort, doing all those solo omnibus reviews. It was the least I could do to do TakeOver on the second time by myself. Glad you guys enjoyed it. Glad you guys enjoyed it. Been enjoying Matt holding it down. Look forward again as Matt continues his journey on this one-man escapade with NXT Omnibus solo next time due to scheduling conflicts. Together we'll get there again, but we are here today, on this day, June the 27th, 2019, Matt, possibly some of the biggest news in the last, at least 5 to 10 years in professional wrestling. I pinched myself a couple times when I got on Twitter after I woke up today. We all know the news. Paul Heyman, now in the head director of Monday Night Raw. Eric Bischoff, now head director of Smackdown, announced by WWE. All these sites have reported it. It is confirmed. It's not a troll. It's not a work. That's what I thought it was. I had so many DMs today, Matt. I thought people were straight up messing with me. Did you think this was real at first?
I didn't. I heard rumors earlier in the day, and I thought the Paul Heyman one sounded just about right because he works backstage anyway. But the Eric Bischoff one, like taking over the creative of SmackDown, I thought was a complete falsity. But no, it appears WWE have seen the light of day, Travis, because let's be honest, it can't get any worse than it is now. And hired two men who basically made non-WWE Attitude Era worth watching.
Yeah, it could be a good thing. I see a lot of and with all due credit, and they're justified, a lot of hesitance from people online today upon the news of, well, yeah, but Vince is really in control at the end of the day. Oh, they're going to be, it's watered down versions of them, or they're older now, and blah, blah, blah. I get that, and I see that. Like you said, it can't get any fucking worse, so, I mean, I'm all for it. I feel like as much bad as Eric Bischoff did for that company, he was not as seasoned at the time. It was all brand new to him. Now, looking back over 20 years later, he knows a little bit more. Yes, the TNA stuff and all that, but you had other idiots involved, like your Dixie Carters, your Hulk Hogan, stuff like that.
Exactly.
For what it's worth, come at me, isn't surrounded by as big of idiots with the Triple H and Vince. We'll see. It can't get worse, and I'm trying to stay positive about it,
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the Paul Heyman one is, understandable. Right. But the Eric Bischoff one, could he really not just have asked Triple H to do it? I know he doesn't watch NXT and he's got no interest in it, Vince, but at the same time, would you not hire your son-in-law, the man you're hopefully planning to hand the company off to one day?
Yeah, and I think that's the elephant in the room nobody's really talking about. And I know the news is brand new, but how's Triple H taking this? How's that feel, Paul? Like, I thought you're being groomed for this position. You thought, and he could still. We don't know. We do not know anything official. What goes on behind the scenes? He could be the puppet master for these two. Vince could be really just falling back a little bit with the XFL on the horizon too.
Yeah. I mean, and let's be honest, it's like we don't know the full details surrounding them both being hired yet. Triple H could have flat out turned it down in favour of carry on with NXT for all we know.
Yeah.
I'm sure if that's happened, that will come out in the next few days. But I think both Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff, they're wiser now, they're older now, they've moved on from ECW and WCW mistakes respectively. And I think they're more in tune with the audience than Vince is. You know, they've been on Twitter. I've heard several Eric Bischoff interviews on his 83 Weeks podcast. I think that's it, isn't it?
Yes.
I've heard, you know, several interviews of him talking through with the fans what's wrong with WWE product and how it could be put better if, you know, if people cared. So I think as much as Triple H would have made better sense than Eric Bischoff, I'm quite, and I haven't said this about main roster WWE for quite some time, but I am quite interested to see where Bischoff takes SmackDown and where Heyman takes Raw if they're allowed to flourish. I know they've got to still report back to Vince McMahon and he's got to okay everything, you know. So,
But I think we both feel like they're there for a reason, not just to be yes.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I hope this isn't just another Vince McMahon ploy of look. We've hired two creative men who basically. I mean, I know Eric Bischoff didn't own WCW, but he might as well have. You know, he was in full control of it. So who owned and ran their own promotions that you loved and you look back on nostalgically. We've hired them to make our product better, and you're still not happy. I hope it's not something like that. I hope they let them just have the free reign of it. Because can you imagine a Paul Heyman run Raw? Like if he's allowed the free reign.
Yeah. I think a lot of fans need to realize this too. Ones that are already sour and negative on this idea and this news today, it's not going to happen overnight. I don't care if you resurrect him from the dead, Jim Barnett, you bring back Dusty Rhodes to book anything. It's not ever going to happen in any promotion in the history of time overnight. It takes time.
No.
It takes at least 3 to 6 months to see any kind of real change, I feel like.
I don't think we're going to see change until well after the Royal Rumble, even on the road to WrestleMania. But like we said, you give them free reign, you trust their ideas, you trust that they know what the audience want to see, and in 6 months' time, you may see an upturn in viewers, in storyline, creative matches as well. I also read on this that Eric Bischoff will work closely with the people at Fox to deliver them a product that they want, and of course we've heard that Fox want a more sports orientated product, which is
there was a report a couple days ago. Fox came out and said they weren't happy with current direction.
Who get in line? Who the fuck is? But yeah, them two.
Some conference call or something, and lo and behold, 2 days later, this news. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, can we see this as a sign that Vince has yielded and understood that his product and the way he was taking it finally isn't good enough after all? Is this that sign, or is this just a sign of Vince saying, I don't know, I'll give you what you want or what you say you want, but it'll still be under my rules?
I feel like for all the criticisms, which we give plenty, that Vince McMahon and the WWE in general get, I feel like more times than not, they always know when to reinvent the wheel in a way or kind of change direction before it's too late. You go back to the mid to late 90s. Obviously, that was the biggest one. You go back to when Vince's dad still had the book, that first passing of the torch, your Black Saturday back in '84, when it didn't work down south, when they first took over down there with Crockett, and then they sold it back to Crockett, and essentially Crockett paid for WrestleMania. They went rock and wrestling. They changed direction. They were smart before it was too, because if WrestleMania 1 wasn't a success or didn't happen, it wasn't looking too good. I don't think they could have afforded Hogan for much longer, to be honest.
Nope.
Because Jimmy Snuka and Sergeant Slaughter were in New York before Hogan, they weren't going to bring in any kind of Hulkamania type sensational era, that he did.
Yep, agreed. And like I say, it's reinventing the wheel. It took Vince McMahon a long time, I think, this time to see that he needed to do something. But they'll get negative criticism, WWE, and rightly so, if they don't do it right. But I think at the end of the day, all the critics should just stop for a minute and see, actually, this is a positive step forward. Because the alternative was what? Vince carrying on like he's been for the next 5 years.
Because Baron Corbin's so good looking.
Oh, stunner.
Worst news report I've read all year. That's why Baron Corbin's getting his push, because Vince thinks he's good looking. I don't believe that. I'm not buying that for a second. I'll say this. You brought up 83 Weeks. Backtrack for a second. The host of that show, Conrad Thompson, who also does Something to Wrestle with. You talk about somebody making out like a bandit. That guy, his two most successful shows. One is head of creative for, or in the creative process behind Raw, Bruce Pritchard, and now Eric Bischoff of SmackDown. Plus, Eric Bischoff was just at StarCast doing all these podcasts, which was the competition AEW on like their Fan Fest weekend a couple weeks ago. How
Yeah.
fast is everything happening right now? Ever since Double or Nothing, it's just been off the rails. No professional wrestler in the WWE can say anything positive about their own company, as we've seen in the past couple days. It's just fucking gloves off right now. And you know what? As much and as frustrating, and it makes Matt and I hate some of you on social media, it's exciting. It's an exciting time in pro wrestling again at the end of the day for me. And I just tweeted this out before we recorded this today, Matt. It was like the last tweet literally I just put out. I've been holding it in on Dale's social media. The mark inside me, I've been holding that mark in because this is, like I said, some of the biggest news in the last 10 years. And I'm excited right now with this announcement. Like left field, holy shit moment today. But man, if you're a wrestling fan right now and some part of you doesn't have some sort of, I'm not going to say adrenaline, but a little bit of butterflies when you read that news, I don't know why you watch it. I really don't, because this is tremendous. Both of these men, respectively, very differently in different ways, revolutionized pro wrestling in the mid 90s. And I'm not saying they're going to revolutionize anything now, but it's some goddamn padding for some bullshit that we've been swimming in for the past couple years. So
Exactly.
why not? Let's do it, you know?
Yep. And, I think they've both got plenty to offer still. So, I don't know when they start. Do they start immediately? Do they start after SummerSlam? I don't know. But
I don't know. We're recording this with the news in such infancy. We have no other details than
exactly. There's nothing else we can talk about of this news other than get them in the job, give them time. If the ratings continue to decline, don't be fast to put it on either of them, because, like we said, it's going to take time. And a year from now, if we're sitting here a year from now, Travis, doing another State of WWE address,
when they brought in
I
Vince
think.
Russo or Nixie Carter a year from now to run Raw and SmackDown.
Can you imagine?
No, I can't. My God, I'm deleting my Twitter account if that happens.
Remember, he said that, folks. So yeah, if we're sitting here a year from now and things have taken even a tiny, turn for the better, then it'll all been worth it. Because right now, they've driven so many long-time fans away that it's actually ridiculous.
Let me do this with you, Matt, because guys, listen, we have no format for this. This is 100% state of the union. It's us shooting from the hip. Matt, let me play a little devil's advocate, flip the coin with you here. We talked about Bischoff in this. See, for me, the more shocking of this announcement is the Paul Heyman side, because let's take a trip back to when Paul Heyman was head of creative or among head of creative for SmackDown. How'd that work out? How'd that go back in the day? That's the one that blows me away a little bit, because Stephanie doesn't like him to this day. They dread each other. That's the one. I know why he's there, but just in a company role, Paul Heyman has always kind of been a rebel without a cause. Lately, he's kind of, since being a parent, he's calmed down and gotten older, but he's only been on-air talent. Now it's kind of different. It's very different, but are you shocked by that one, or do you think that one's going to pan out more? Who do you think's going to pan out better and be more of a success? I'll put you on the spot, Bischoff or Heyman?
Bischoff, because I think, I mean, I've heard from more than one person that Stephanie really doesn't have that much to do with Raw anymore, apart from if she's, on screen and she's there. So he doesn't have that to worry about as much, I think, like Stephanie getting in his way. But I think memories of 2004 and December to Dismember 2005 will still hang around Paul Heyman's neck somewhat. And I think they'll have a more critical eye on Paul Heyman just for that than they will on Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, I kind of agree. And I feel like when Bischoff came in 02 as on-air talent, there was never any backstage. He was always just, yes, sir, Thank you for the chance.
Yeah.
Just as shocked to be here as you are. And he did his job. They threw him in a garbage truck, and he did it with a smile. I feel like he was never a problem, and I'm kind of with you on that.
Yeah, and I think that loyalty from Eric Bischoff has like done him wonders 10 years later, because I think he'll be given more free reign than Paul Heyman will now. I think Vince will still be looking over Paul Heyman's shoulder to make sure, another 2004 / WWE ECW isn't looming.
Seen a lot of people too after this news today say that, well, they should do what Russo did. It was a good idea. Just vacate all the titles. No, I hate when do that. I hate
Yeah.
that so much because this start from scratch shit. You can't just forget what we've been watching for the past year. That's not the
No.
you gradually slip in the changes. In this case, as bad as WD, maybe a little bit more than gradually, but you get those changes in more subtly than just, oh, you're not a champ that you earned. Especially when you do that
Yeah.
babyface. But if you want to make your authority figure a babyface, why are you making them take a title off a babyface they love?
And there's great gratification from seeing it go from absolute dog shit to something that you can actually enjoy in parts, and see things gradually get better, rather than saying, look, we're going to strip everyone of the titles. We've pissed you off for the past X amount of years for nothing, basically, because we're starting again with a clean slate.
And every time they've done that in WCW or other promotions where they strip all the talent titles, it goes to show that more times than not, it is true. As corny and as cliche as it is, when people say that the guy makes the belt, it really is. Because then you just got a bunch of props with no meaning. Nobody earned anything. So don't. That's a bad idea to do this, but we'll see. For me, it's very easily stop making these goddamn guys talk like robots. Nobody talks like 80% of these people do. Edge, reality. I'm not saying Attitude Era, but just Jesus, can we loosen up a bit? It's very stiff and rigid. WWE TV. That's been my constant complaint for years. It needs to be less of that, more of a natural feel in what NXT is. A more organic to it.
Agreed. And if they're actually coming in to oversee creative, can we please fire some of these writers who know nothing about wrestling and actually get people in who do?
Yeah. Well, that's not the. Let's go take a little trip real quick to get off this topic. Get ourselves a break for a little bit. There's been a lot of good wrestling going on that you and I, since we've recorded together. You got your Double or Nothing, your Dominion, Best of the Super Juniors, Money in the Bank was but the latest one, Stomping Grounds. A lot of people were surprised by the quality of that show. It was for me. I watched it. I was fair about it. I liked what most people liked. I really liked that heavy machinery match. I'm a huge fan of Otis Dozovich. Come on, Matt. I know you want to. He entertains me.
No, I mean, I haven't seen heavy machinery since I left NXT. I didn't watch Stomping Grounds, Travis. I'm sticking to my little exodus from WWE main roster, but I speak to Rocky daily. He tells me what's good, what's bad. I listen to other podcasts, and from what I heard, Stomping Ground was a card of two halves. The first half was good, the second half was typical WWE. But I mean, what's good's good. And
that's pretty much where I'm at on it too. That was my thought process when I watched it too. The first half was really solid, but I feel like, Matt, we're just at a point where so many people have jumped the shark now with their complaints about wrestling, where you're saying that a card was tremendous, and let's be honest, it was rematch city from Super Showdown. Pretty much, it was a bunch of rematches, and some of the matches in Super Showdown were better than the Stomping Grounds. But I get it, the Super Saudi thing, and every time they go to Saudi now with the blood money, and it's always going to have a stink to it. I just flat out put in my hands, wiping them clean, Matt. I think people officially, now especially with competition, nobody knows what they want, and we're finally complaining for the sake of complaining. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, Twitter's full of it. I mean, we know that. We know Twitter is full of whiny little bitches, which is why I don't really complain about wrestling on Twitter anymore. If anyone listens to this who follows me on Twitter, then you'd have to go back quite a way to see me complain about anything, I believe. But I think people enjoy complaining, Travis. They enjoy raking wrestling over hot coals. And don't get me wrong, from what I've been hearing, Raw and SmackDown deserve it completely. But when there's something good, let's at least praise them for doing something good, because it just makes you a bitchy little hypocrite if you're complaining that they're not giving you like something that you want, and then they deliver it, albeit in short supply, but they deliver it nonetheless, and then you still drag them over the coals for it. So if Stomping Ground was better than any pay-per-view this year, then main roster pay-per-view this year, then WWE should be given credit for that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of weird stuff going on with the booking a little bit lately. This whole Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, let's make it into storylines thing, and
Yeah, I heard that.
in a way it's working, and in a way it's not working, and I'll explain why. It's working for me because that booking at Stomping Grounds actually made total fucking sense. I'm sorry, people hated Lacey Evans being the referee, and it wasn't great. Trust me, it's Lacey Evans, but it made fucking sense to me, especially if
Mm-hmm.
the boyfriend girlfriend route. I don't know how. What was your thought on that?
Well, when I heard it, because even though I don't watch it anymore, I still like to watch the results come in on Twitter and see people's reactions, because it makes me laugh. Just before I went to bed, I saw that Lacey Evans was the referee. I saw from WWE's Twitter account, when they post them little annoying little videos with the captions of literally what's just happened on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it sort of makes sense, because didn't Seth Rollins say that he'd hit anyone with the chair or something who Baron Corbin chose? And it was like, well, you're not going to hit a woman with a chair, so
Exactly.
there's a bit of logic there. And I mean, I'm not for the whole boyfriend girlfriend thing being exposed on television, but I guess it made sense in the long run.
And I'll explain. I said I'll explain why I'm kind of negative on it, because I look at it. I shouldn't, because I'm a fan, but I look at it as a business standpoint. You better hope to God they don't break up, because then what? What are you gonna do?
Can you imagine how awkward that would be?
Yeah. And I know they've done it before with Goldust and Terry Reynolds, but how did that work out for both people's mental stability for like the next 10 to 15 years after that? When Terry Reynolds just got
Yeah.
a goddamn gun the other month.
Yes, I saw that.
Jesus. Thankfully, Dustin's turned it around.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I just think they should be wary when they do stuff like that. Now, Lana and Rusev, they were engaged, but they got fucking punished when they did it. But
Yes.
here's why you were in a storyline where you weren't together. So I could see WWE's standpoint on that a little bit more. But at the end of the day, you punish someone for doing what you're doing now. So state of the WWE address, though, Matt. Let's kind of go a little bit. Let's go across to another brand. Drew Gulak winning the Cruiserweight title. Thoughts on that real quick. We'll get to a 5 Live knocked out real quick.
Yes, I watched highlights of this. I didn't see the whole match, but I like what he's been doing with Kushida in NXT. That submission match, which you
Did you watch
recommended,
it?
I go back.
Guys, I went out of my way.
I
I liked
watched
that
it.
match so much. And I told Matt, get on it. It was great. Tremendous.
It was excellent. Thoroughly recommend it if people haven't seen it. And I think Triple H has looked at Drew Gulak and thought, do you know what? There's a little diamond in the rough there. And he's shown it in NXT, he's shown it in 205 Live, and now he's got the rewards for it. Will it necessarily put 205 Live up there where it needs to be?
No.
I've heard it's not even in the top 10 weekly watched on the network. I don't think so. But for Drew Gulak, I think it's a nice platform for him to show what he can do, to show he's reliable in the ring, he's solid in the ring, he can carry anyone to a great match. I worry for Drew Gulak if he's called up to the main roster in a permanent role, because I don't think Vince McMahon is going to get Drew Gulak. But now, obviously, with today's
Yeah, but now we say, well, Eric Bischoff got Dean Malenko, so I mean, who knows now?
exactly,
It's Wild West.
I can see there being a tug of war over Drew Gulak between Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff.
You know who I think? Like I said, no format guys. You know who I think is going to get the rocket strapped to them, because Paul Heyman's every shoot interview I watched Paul Heyman in the last couple of years, he praises Finn Balor up and down. He is a huge Finn Balor fan, so I think there's big things on the horizon for Balor, and I think we see Balor on his.
Yeah.
I think Paul Heyman goes out of his way to just throw a tantrum over getting Balor back on Raw.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I know. I mean, if this institutes the brand split again, actually enforces it, then it's another plus, isn't it?
I think
Because
this
I
wild
don't.
card bullshit goes out the window. I think it's done.
Yeah,
Needs to be.
agreed, agreed. And I hope Eric Bischoff straps the pack to Buddy Murphy,
Yeah.
because that man, that bloke, is like, I've heard he's been off of television since WrestleMania. Is that true?
That can't be right. Is that right? Wow.
That's what I've heard. I heard he appeared in a
I was
a
there. He
segment
he
where he
opened
had,
Mania with Tony Nese. It was the very first match of the entire night.
yeah, yeah, I saw that, and then I heard he was in like an advert spot on SmackDown to fill the time for the live audience while they were off the air.
Wow.
And I've heard he's not been featured on SmackDown Live since.
That's almost as shocking as Ring of Honor selling 3 whole tickets to their paper.
I was hoping we were going to get to that. I still can't stop laughing.
We'll get there in a little bit. Unfortunately, that's not WWE. But my thoughts on Gulak,
Oh dear.
why not? 205 Live, it already has that go away stink that I don't feel like it's ever going to go away. Like Matt already dropped the gospel on you guys speaking the truth. It's not been in the top 10 forever, and people aren't going to buy into 205 Live. It's a lost cause, and I feel like essentially it's just overkill. And I feel like I hate to say because of what could have been with that show, it needs to just go away. And these guys, you take the best guys, you just filter them into select shows or whatever.
Do you know what? I've heard a lot of people say, well, 205 Live should move to Full Sail and have a makeover, etc. I wouldn't do that. If I was Triple H and I've got 205 Live and I've got NXT, just rebrand, get rid of 205 Live. What's the roster? What, 13 wrestlers, something like that? 13 to 20 wrestlers, maybe?
If that.
Exactly. Rebrand the strap, the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, have them a part of NXT. Problem solved.
I'm going to go there again, Matt. You know who was a great guy, a master strategist at filtering in cruiserweights with the cruiserweight title on the line on a main show? Who was that?
Eric Bischoff.
Just do it that way for SmackDown. And I feel like SmackDown should have always been. SmackDown, since like Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio kind of set that just feel to that show in stone back in the day of the SmackDown 6, cruiserweight should always be on SmackDown.
Do you think the main roster audience has got the attention span for it though after what they've been spoon-fed?
They've been overexposed. With having their own show, I feel like they're not strong enough character-wise, these guys, as great as they are in ring. The majority of, like, a Gulak's great, his character and his promos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But enough of them, and there's just, you need more than just great wrestling, I feel like. Especially, like you could just say, well, New Japan, Ring of Honor, all these companies, yeah, but they have, what's the thing I'm looking for here? They have not more of an edge to them, but just more of that's kind of why we're here, and they appeal to more of a niche crowd.
Yeah, that's why I said integrate the cruiserweights into NXT, because can you imagine a Tony Nese Drew Gulak match given 20 minutes, on the beginning of Takeover?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's jump to NXT real quick while we're doing this, man. We'll cover all the bases on WWE. Did you see this announcement? That's like an 8-man tournament. They're taking these unknowns from the Performance Center, and I like that idea, but also that goes to show how much they've stocked the fuck up on guys. Where now they're just like, I gotta get some of these fucking guys out of here to make room for these new guys. Like,
yeah, they've really overstocked the Performance Center, and now there's no more room left in the warehouse for them. So.
But I think biggest name announced in this unknown tournament, sorry Matt, is Jonah Rock going by Bronson Reed.
Can I just say before we get into that, I don't like these name changes. Not one of them.
I mean, it's typical, and they've always been awful every time. The only one I actually like right now, and I'm calling it. This is my bold prediction for this, random ass episode. My 2 years from now, this guy's going to be one of the biggest stars in the company. Calling it, Damien Priest.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I think Triple H looks at him very favourably from what I've been hearing, and sorry, I think he's a future NXT champion. And you know what? I this is the point where I'd usually say Travis, and that's probably as far as he'll go. But with the news today, I think it gives NXT call-ups. I think it gives the guys on 205 Live and everyone already on Raw and SmackDown a new hope. I believe it's like if I get called up, maybe under the new guidance of Heyman or Bischoff, I won't get buried.
I think it's a lot easier to scout Damien Priest too, at least like for a Heyman and Bischoff, and even for me because I saw a lot of Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor, and every time I watched one of his matches, I always said the same thing. I found myself saying, "This is what Roman Reigns should be," and I'm calling it.
Yeah,
I see
yeah.
big things for that guy. He's got everything.
Haven't,
I don't know about his pro
haven't they
skills.
haven't they given him like a vampire gimmick in NXT? I've been hearing.
It's kind of like Sean O'Hare in a way, the vignettes, but not like he's trying to tempt you. It just shows him like in nightclubs and like on his. Did you see his entrance where like he shoots an arrow or something?
I've not seen that. I haven't been keeping up with NXT like properly recently because I've just had so much wrestling to watch, Travis. But
Well, to be fair,
it's
this is
there
the
on the
episode that
Netflix.
just
I'll
came
come
out
back
like
to it.
yesterday or like 2 weeks ago. So it's pretty new.
I'll have to go.
They debuted him
I'll have
after
to-
Takeover. They've been building him up over the weeks in NXT. But yeah, you're kind of right. It's kind of a vampire meets Sean O'Hare type thing. But I like it. It was a good squash match.
Now if that had fallen into Vince's hands before today's announcement, the first thing I'd have thought is when he gets to the main roster, Mordecai.
Or lights go out, bloodbath. Somebody's covered in blood, and it's Damien Priest that did it.
Yeah, a Gangrel type. Well, it worked before, so
People come at me, and I know that the Attitude Era had a lot of bad. I thought the Brood was fucking awesome when I was like a teenager. I thought they were so cool. But looking back now, it's like, yeah, they're cool, but why did I like them so much? I don't know what it was about them back in the day.
I think Edge and Christian. It's like maybe they brought their own sort of Twilight thing to it before Twilight was a thing. But Gangrel was. He looked. I think he looked. To me, Gangrel looked what he turned out to be, and that was an old porn star.
Look like a vampire warrior man.
Like he was just ready to pop out the teeth, whack off his shirt, get it done.
Did you mean
I,
to say whack off?
no, I didn't. I didn't
Yeah.
mean to say whack off.
Crazy things happen when you bring up Gangrel. Anybody that wants, by the way, Horrible Nightmares Tonight, look up Gangrel when he was the Vampire Warrior on the Indies. This is how I imagine it, though, Matt. I feel like this is the perfect way for us to come back once again. State of the WWE is in the books. We will see what goes down. With that being said, this will go down, Matt. Where can everyone catch you once again? Your book, all that goodness.
You can find me on Twitter at The Perfect Teddy. You can buy our official merchandise, the official Hibiki TMZ shirt, the official Union Smack shirt, the official Reset Button shirt, and I'm sure more to come this summer, Travis, from our shop, unionsmack.bigcartel.com. And you can buy my Undertaker book, A Trip Down Death Valley, from completelynovel.com. But you can also order it through our shop as well.
Very nice, very nice. I look forward, Matt, to hearing your solo omnibus review on the next go-round, dropping later this week of NXT UK. So check it out, guys. Don't miss it. Until then, as always, you can follow me on Twitter at TheUbiquitTMD. You can hit subscribe. I messed it up right down below for all the retro gaming and pro wrestling goodness.
You had one job.
I know. Actually, I got multiple jobs. Never drew a dime, the reset button, this, Union Smack, so many things right here. Until then, State of the WWE address. Cheerio, mates.